Tackling climate change is one of the major challenges facing the world today, and one that will affect us all. As we seek to drive carbon out of our everyday lives, we need to look again at how businesses operate, how we manage the land, and what goods we buy. Creating jobs at the same time as reducing carbon emissions is a tough task. However, one sector is ideally placed to deliver this future of a low carbon economy.
We benefit from having a range of different types of forests. We have forests which are very important for people who want to walk in the forest. We have forests which are very important for biodiversity. We also have forests which are very important for producing wood. And that's extremely important as well, because we need wood in our everyday lives. It's a product which pops up in houses and our offices and everywhere else. And being able to produce that wood also locks up carbon, which is extremely important for us as a society if we're going to achieve our targets for tackling climate change.
The UK forestry and wood sector contributes billions of pounds to the economy and employs hundreds of thousands of people, many in rural areas. At the beginning of the 20th century, the UK had lost nearly all its forests, and a shortage of wood threatened the country's future during 2 world wars. However, through a programme of expansion, the area of forest has increased, and they now cover over 11% of the land. Many of these forests are being harvested and restructured to improve their visibility in the landscape and to provide more habitats for wildlife and opportunities for recreation. These new forests are truly multi-purpose and will provide infinitely renewable supplies of wood. As we enter the second decade of the 21st century, we face a very different challenge, and our forests are set to play an important role again.
We've lost our forestry culture, our understanding which we had hundreds of years ago, which most other countries have, that forestry, like farming, is a rural activity which is part of the wider economy and is extremely important. Wood using businesses, the forestry sector, is far larger than people think. Work that we've had commissioned with the Forestry Commission demonstrates that the sector contributes about £7 billion in gross value added. That's £7 billion to the economy, and employs nearly 200,000 people across the UK.
The forestry industry is the only industry that can sequester carbon as the trees grow, particularly softwood species, that can lock up carbon when it's in a solid wood form, your houses, your tables, your chairs, your fencing, and after life, post-life, it can be burnt in your boiler, in your log fire, and produce your energy to heat your home and your water.
The UK imports over 80% of its wood, and new markets are emerging, especially burning wood for energy. But meanwhile, unmanaged forests dominate much of England, with problems also in Scotland, Wales and Northern Ireland. A report in 2002 by government environmental advisors highlighted that important wildlife species associated with forests were in decline. A major driver of this decline was the lack of management of forests. Expanding the area of managed forests and producing more sustainably produced wood will not only deliver jobs but reduce carbon emissions. If the area of forestry increased by just 4%, it would lock up 10% of the UK's carbon emissions by 2050. The challenge is to inform people on how forests of all varieties can help in this battle against climate change and the importance of actively managing forests. Modern sustainable forestry has learnt from the past and is both good for the environment and good for the economy, with productive, well-managed forests at the heart of a 21st century sector. Sales of wood provide income to support the sustainable management of forests, which is a multi-billion-pound industry. As an industry, it's quite unusual in that the more it produces, the more carbon it takes out of the atmosphere.
Through decades of using non-renewable resources, we didn't require to use renewables. Wood, of course, is a renewable, and it has now become imperative that we manufacture from substances that are not based on fossil and non-renewable fuels. Thus, wood is a material of today.
The UK has seen investment of hundreds of millions of pounds in wood harvesting and processing equipment. A harvesting machine can cost over £250,000, and building a new sawmill line takes tens of millions of pounds. The emerging renewable energy sector is also investing millions of pounds in forestry.
There's a willingness on the part of all the players in the supply chain to make forestry work and to make it a really modern industry. All of the players, from nurseries through growers of timber, the processing sector, understand these factors. What we know is that if we can bring the whole supply chain together, we can deliver a terrific range of benefits.
The future is bright for this sustainable, carbon-friendly industry, but only if we all understand the key message, that sustainably managed forests and the constant supply of wood will help deliver benefits in the mitigation of climate change, at the same time as drive the UK towards a low carbon economy.